Kaylee, thanks a lot for being willing to sit down and answer a few questions about how this whole coronavirus thing is affecting you.
Yeah.
And you wanted me to surprise you with some questions so that you could give natural answers.
Yes.
So I want to think of a question that you're not expecting.
Okay.
So how is this affecting, or has this had any effect on your walk with God, your relationship with God?
That's a good question. Actually, I did not expect that. Yes, it has. The biggest thing that I have been learning right now, or thinking about in this time of quarantine and not being able to go to work, not being able to hang out with my friends, is how much distraction I was living with. And when that all is removed, how uncomfortable I am just being and not constantly having people to talk to or events to go to. And I recently just started a little devotional, and it's all on distraction. And it's really been highlighting how I've gotten to this place in my walk with God where I didn't even want just quiet time. I was always listening to sermons or had worship music on, but it was never just me and God alone. And then recently, just in the different scriptures that I've been reading, I see Jesus all the time going off and being alone with God and just praying. And so that's something that I've been thinking about, that if the Savior of the world, if Jesus himself was constantly going off and setting aside that time to be with God, then why would I, a human that is weak, not be doing that to get that strength from him? And so that's something that I've really been trying to practice and work on, is not just filling my mind with constant noise. Even if it's good things, it's still a distraction.
Yeah.
Because it still takes away from what God simply wants to say to me in our alone time, and it's just filling it with what a pastor has to say to me. So it has affected my relationship in an uncomfortable way, but in a good way, because it's pushing me to have more just alone time, silent time with God.
Yeah, that's cool. Good answer. Thank you. Okay, another question for you, if you're up for it.
Yep.
What do you think will be some positive impacts of this long term, maybe for you personally, for the church, for our country or our society? Have you thought about, I'm putting you on the spot, but have you thought about maybe some positive things that may come of this for the big picture, long term?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that, but I think if I think about what's going on in my life right now, I hope that other people in our church are experiencing that too, of really having to be uncomfortable, and then what are we going to do with that? What's going to come from it? And so I've seen just within my family how, because we can't meet together as a church, my parents have been doing Bible study Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights at their homes. And so now it's not just spending time with my family and just the usual, what we've gotten into, which is not deep intentionality, that we've started doing that with each other, and not only just relationally, but then also talking about Jesus a lot more and bringing Bible studies into it, and then hearing how they're doing spiritually. And so I think that although it's been really sad not meeting with my church family, having that spiritual intimacy with my blood family has been really beautiful, and I'm hoping that when the church does start meeting again together, that doesn't stop. And so I think that hopefully that's something that other families in the church are doing too. So although we're all going to come back together, we're going to come back in a way that we're more intimate with our own families. And I think that that's going to have a good impact on our church body.
Yeah. I feel like personally, I'm going to steal a little bit of your show here.
Go for it.
But I feel like that's personally one of my hopes, that a positive that comes out of this is that people really kind of see more beyond just a Sunday show up to church meeting time, and learn how to worship in smaller groups or with just friends and family, or how to think or concentrate on their walk with God, or realize the things that have been distracting. So I appreciate your answers. I feel like that's really helpful, and it's encouraging to me, because I feel like that's what I'm hoping catches in what ends up happening church-wide, family-wide, even nationwide out of this. So that's cool. Thank you. All right, I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
Have you personally dealt with much fear regarding all of this?
No, I think I'm on the other side. I think that I have a really big lack of fear. No, not lack of fear. I think I have a lack of an understanding of the severity of it, and so I can catch myself falling into whatever, like it's a little cold, like what's gonna happen? And so I think that's an area that I can see a little bit of maybe like youngness or foolishness within myself of, okay, it's a pandemic, like it's pretty serious that this is happening, but feeling like it's not real, like maybe because my own world hasn't been affected by it,
Right.
that it feels like it's not that big of a deal. But if I was one of the people who one of my family members just died because of it, I can guarantee that I would feel a lot different, and maybe my fear levels or just the healthy dosage of concern or worry would be there. And so
Right.
maybe that's even me having to practice empathy of putting myself in their shoes and recognizing just because I'm not directly being affected
Right.
by it, other than my work situation, doesn't mean that it's not real, and it doesn't mean that it's not serious.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it seems like people are usually on one end of the spectrum, like
Mm-hmm.
freaked out, panicked,
Right.
or maybe a little too reckless and careless about it.
Mm-hmm.
So probably a good healthy would be somewhere
Something in the middle. Yeah.
So good. All right. Anything you want to say to your church family? You can look right in the camera and tell them.
Ooh, look right at them. I miss you guys. I miss you a lot, and I think that having this time of not constantly seeing you and being able to ask how you all are doing, I knew that I already had a deep love for my church, especially being raised in this church and viewing you guys as my family. I already have that deep love, but then not seeing you all so often on Sundays and Wednesdays is really making me realize how blessed I am, one, to be raised in this church, and then two, just to be able to see you guys as often as I do. I really love you all, and I'm excited to see you guys, and even just getting the little weekly updates of the prayer requests and still having that contact I think is special. And so I think now this is another good thing coming from it, is I have a deeper appreciation for my church family and a high excitement to see you guys. So I love you all. I hope you're doing well, and I'm excited to see you soon.
Thank you, Kaylee.
You're welcome.